If you feed Acana to your dog, this video is for you. Now, we have some very important changes to the recipes and to the whole ethos of the company. Acana a few months ago was purchased by Mars Incorporated, yes, the chocolate company, who is one of the big three and has a wide array of companies in the pet food industry. And some of those brands are really poor when it comes to ingredient quality. However, they bought Acana and now we are starting to see some of the changes they have planned. There are two important changes when it comes to Acana dog food, and it pertains to the classics because the regionals are no longer in production. Bear in mind that the regionals were regional, and when those regional products stopped being regional, Acana could no longer say those products were regional. But this change pertains to the Acana Classics, the most popular range. The first one is that they are going to shrink the bags. They are going to be presented for the big ones and they are going to go down in size from 11.4 kg to 9.7 kg, which is arguably a nothing burger. The most important change Acana is going to make is they are going to tweak the recipe. And they are going to tweak the recipe because I suspect they want to go mainstream. Whenever you have a niche brand, you can farm those ingredients and you can contain those ingredients and you can source those ingredients very reliably. So you can actually be a bit more precise in what you are putting into the food. But when a food goes mainstream, and we are talking all over the world, the manufacturer will have to make sure they have the ingredients for the whole world and not for a niche. And sometimes that means that they will be diluting down the quality. But let's see. I here have the most popular recipe, which is the Acana Prairie Poultry. This is the introductory bag and the most popular bag. And we can see that there are two main changes. The first change is that they are going to introduce fresh chicken. So the first ingredient in the food is going to be fresh chicken as opposed to chicken meal. And the second ingredient is going to be chicken meal, and that's going to comprise 41% of the bag. The food is then going to be followed by pearl barley, whole peas, oat groats, chicken fat, 8%, and then whole oats and other fruits and botanicals. As you can see on the screen, the original recipe was a bit more intricate and had several different things in the recipe. The first ingredient was chicken meal, and that was 25% of the bag, followed by steel cut oats, and that was 23% of the bag. The fresh chicken meat was 5%, and then they introduced fresh chicken giblets, liver, heart and kidney, 5%, followed by fresh cake eggs, turkey meat, whole green lentils and other fruits and botanicals. Acana were one of the pioneers, and they harped on this idea of the whole prey ratio, whereby they included meat, organs, cartilage, bone and all the goodies that dogs thrive on. When we compare the current recipe to the new recipe, what we see is a bit of a dilution when it comes to ingredients. We do not see liver, organs, we don't see cartilage, we do not see fresh turkey meat, we do not see a more niche selection of things that were in the recipe, and we are moving into something a bit more vague, a bit more mainstream. The same can be said for the Acana Wild Coast and the Acana Red Meat recipe. The Acana Wild Coast, the new one, contains 22% raw salmon, and then we have herring meal, and we will then go into the fillers, which will be pearl barley, whole peas, oat groats and pork fat, whole oats, chickpea fiber, fish oil, and other fruits and botanicals, as opposed to the old recipe where it contained herring meal, oat groats, raw whole herring, raw whole egg, fish oil, pork fat, and other fruits and botanicals. Again, we see a bit of a diversion, and we see Acana trying to consolidate and reduce the amount of unique ingredients that go into each recipe. The same can be said for the red meat recipe, in which they add in the new recipe raw beef, lamb meal, and then we go into the pearl barley, whole peas, oat groats, pork fat, pork meal, and then whole oats and other fruits and botanicals. And as you can see, this was the original, which had lamb meal, oat groats, raw pork, pork meal, raw beef, pork fat, and then other fruits and botanicals that went into the bag of food. Now, what can we say about these changes? Well, if you are a mass consumer, if you consume Acana and you are happy with the product, you will be staying with Acana, and you will see that Acana becomes more available because Mars will have the logistics and they will be able to scale up the product, and they will be able to serve you the product wherever you are. They are going to really go mass market with this thing, and you are going to be seeing Acana pretty much everywhere. However, if you are a purist, if you really look at ingredients, if you really look at the quality of the ingredients, you will have noticed the pearl barley introduction. You will have noticed that Mars have added that touch. In this channel, we have always maintained that we should never feed our dogs rice, wheat, barley, corn, soy, and all that sort of stuff. With the introduction of pearl barley, we can now see that high glycemic carbohydrate completely unnecessary in the recipe. So if you are a mass consumer, you will be happy with the fresh chicken, and you will be happy with the first ingredient being fresh, a fresh meat. And you should definitely be happy about that, because that's a thing to be happy about, and that's really, really good. If you are a purist, you will look at the whole prey ratios, you will be looking at the liver, the heart, the cartilage, all those beautiful whole prey ratios. You will be looking at pearl barley situation, and you will be saying, well, Acana is no longer for me, and therefore I don't want to buy it anymore. So in which camp do you sit in? What do you think about these changes? Are you going to carry on feeding Acana? What do you think? I'd be very interested to hear your comments down below.